Chosen one, stop scrolling. This is not a coincidence. You didn't land on this message by accident. Something that broke your soul is about to be restored. There was a night when you cried in silence, when no one saw the damage, when you asked God why it had to be you. He heard every word. What shattered you wasn't meant to destroy you. It was meant to mark you, to separate you, to prepare you for what comes next. If your soul has felt cracked, heavy, misunderstood, stay with me, because this truth was hidden for a reason. And now it's finding you. The moment your soul broke, there was a time your light dimmed. Not because you were weak, but because you gave too much to the wrong places. You trusted where you shouldn't have. You lost something sacred. Peace, innocence, a version of you that believed easily. That breaking changed your eyes. You started seeing through people, through lies, through illusions. And that's when God stepped closer, not to punish you, but to rebuild you differently. What it truly means to be chosen. Being chosen isn't about perfection. It's about pressure. It's about carrying weight others can't, and surviving what would crush most. Chosen ones are refined through fire. Isolation becomes familiar. Misunderstanding becomes constant. Strength is built in silence. You felt different because you are. Your spirit rejects shallow connections. Your soul craves truth. Your heart feels deeply. That difference is divine. And it's why restoration hits you differently. God doesn't replace what you lost. He upgrades it. SIGNS, God is restoring you now. You stopped chasing validation. What once triggered you doesn't anymore. Your boundaries became stronger. Your silence louder. People who drained you disappeared. Not by force, but by alignment. Your energy shifted. You started trusting your intuition again. That inner voice got clearer, sharper, impossible to ignore. This is restoration. Not loud, not flashy, but undeniable. Why the world tried to break you. Darkness recognizes light before light recognizes itself. That's why you were targeted. That's why betrayal came from close places. That's why love felt conditional. Your presence exposed wounds in others. And instead of healing, they projected. They attacked. You weren't too much. They were too unhealed. You weren't sensitive. You were aware. And now the same world that doubted you won't recognize the version God is restoring. The awakening after the breaking. Breaking was the initiation. Awakening is the reward. You see patterns now. You move with discernment. Your prayers changed. You stopped begging. You started aligning. You started trusting timing. You no longer fear losing people, because you found yourself. And when you found yourself, you found God within you. This awakening wasn't gentle, but it was necessary. And it's still unfolding. What God is restoring in you. He's restoring your confidence. Not arrogance, but quiet certainty. Unshakable knowing. He's restoring your heart. Not to be naive, but to love with wisdom and discernment. He's restoring your purpose. The vision you buried. The calling you doubted. The fire you thought died. Nothing was wasted. Not the pain. Not the tears. Not the waiting. Step into who you're becoming. Stop shrinking to be accepted. Stop explaining your depth. Stop dimming your light. It was never meant to blend in. Walk away from what no longer aligns. Even if it's lonely. Even if it's hard. He's walking with you. This is your season of return. Return to self. Return to truth. Return to power. And once you rise, you'll understand why it had to break first. If this message spoke to your soul, don't ignore it. Your engagement carries energy. Like this video to seal the message. Subscribe to Chosen Wave if you feel called. Comment below and claim it. What God broke, He is restoring better. Let your words activate your alignment. Chosen One, do you feel the restoration happening already? Tell me in the comments, when did your awakening begin? The silent rebuilding you notice. While you thought nothing was happening, everything was happening. God doesn't rebuild loudly. He rebuilds in layers. In silence, you were being rewired. Your reactions softened. Your patience deepened. Your discernment sharpened. What felt like stagnation was stabilization. What felt like delay was protection. You were being strengthened for what you're about to carry. That quiet season wasn't empty. It was sacred. Why restoration feels uncomfortable. Restoration isn't comfort. It's confrontation. You had to face what hurt you, what you avoided. God doesn't heal what you deny. He heals what you surrender. And surrender feels like loss before it feels like freedom. You outgrew old coping mechanisms. Old attachments stopped working. Old distractions lost their power. This discomfort is proof. You're shedding old skin. The weight you were chosen to carry. Not everyone could survive your story. That's why it was given to you. Your soul has endurance others don't understand. Depth others fear. You carry wisdom earned through pain. Empathy sharpened by loss. Strength refined through endurance. That's why people come to you for clarity. For grounding. For truth. Your presence is ministry. Even when you're silent. When God removes people without warning. Some exits had no explanation. No closure. No apology. Just distance. That wasn't rejection. That was divine extraction. God removes what has access to you, but no assignment. They couldn't go where you were going. And if they stayed, they would delay you. So God intervened. Protection doesn't always feel gentle, but it's always intentional. The shift in your energy. You don't argue like you used to. You don't chase clarity. You observe. You detach. Your peace became more valuable than being understood. Your intuition louder than opinions. Your alignment stronger than approval. That's not coldness. That's mastery. That's emotional sovereignty. You're no longer available for chaos. And that's power. Why you felt called but lost. Calling comes before clarity. That's the test. You felt chosen long before you knew why. You question yourself, your faith, your sanity. But calling isn't confusion. It's invitation. An invitation to grow into what you can't yet see. Now pieces are aligning. Slowly, surely, divinely. The death of your old self. The version of you that tolerated disrespect is gone. The version that overgave is gone. The version that doubted intuition is gone. That death was necessary. Because new wine needs new skin. Old versions can't hold new blessings. Grieve who you were. But don't resurrect them. They served their purpose. You are not becoming someone else. You're becoming more you. When God restores, He multiplies. What returns won't look the same. It'll feel safer, stronger, aligned. God doesn't restore to repeat cycles. He restores to elevate standards, to expand capacity, to deepen discernment. What's coming will require maturity, not desperation, wholeness, not wounds. And now, you're finally ready to receive the loneliness that shaped you. There were moments you felt unseen, unchosen, disconnected even in rooms full of people. That loneliness wasn't punishment. It was preparation. Solitude sharpened your awareness. Silence trained your spirit. You learned how to self-soothe, how to listen inward, how to sit with discomfort without running. Now you don't fear being alone. You fear being misaligned. Why your heart had to break first. A closed heart can't carry divine assignments. Your heart had to crack open, so compassion could flow, so wisdom could enter. You felt betrayal deeply because you loved deeply. You grieved intensely because you care intensely. That depth is not a flaw. God didn't harden you. He refined you. Soft enough to feel, strong enough to endure. Your heart still beats with purpose. The test of delay and doubt. There were seasons you questioned God's timing. You did everything right, yet nothing moved. Delay tested your faith. Doubt tested your patience. Silence tested your trust. But timing is not absence. It's orchestration. Every delay aligned unseen variables. When the door opens, you'll see why it couldn't open sooner. How discernment became your shield. You don't reveal everything anymore. You don't explain your vision. You let actions speak. Discernment taught you who deserves access, who deserves distance, who deserves silence. Not everyone who smiles is safe. Not everyone who listens understands. Your spirit now recognizes truth instantly. That awareness is protection. The power of your testimony. Your story carries medicine. Even if you don't speak it yet, your survival speaks. People feel seen in your presence because you've walked through darkness and returned with light. Your wounds didn't disqualify you. They qualified you. They gave you authority. One day, your voice will unlock others. When you stop seeking revenge, there was a shift. You released the need to prove, to expose, to retaliate. You chose peace over payback, growth over grudges, freedom over bitterness. That's when God took over. Vengeance is His. Restoration is yours. Letting go didn't weaken you. It crowned you. The moment you realized you survived, you looked back one day and felt no sting, no rage, no ache. What once haunted you became history. What once defined you became a lesson. What once controlled you lost power. That's when you knew. You weren't broken anymore. You were transformed. The new level of self-respect. You no longer negotiate your worth. You no longer explain your boundaries. You enforce them in silence. What once felt uncomfortable now feels necessary. Walking away feels lighter. Saying no feels peaceful. You finally understand this truth. Access to you is earned, not demanded. Self-respect became your new language. Why you attract strong reactions now. Your presence activates people, healed or unhealed, aligned or threatened. Some admire you quietly. Some resist you loudly. Both reactions are confirmation. Light reveals what darkness hides. and not everyone is ready to be seen. So don't dim, don't soften, don't apologize. The divine replacement principle. God never removes without replacing. What left created space. What's coming needs room. Old connections exited so aligned ones could enter. Old dreams died so greater visions could live. Old pain cleared the way for purpose. You thought you lost everything, but you were being repositioned. What replaces it will feel effortless, because it's assigned. When you stopped begging and started trusting, your prayers changed tone. Less desperation, more surrender. You stopped chasing outcomes. You focused on alignment. You trusted the process. That shift moved mountains. Because faith isn't force. It's release. What's meant for you responds to trust, not chase. The separation before elevation. Before every rise, there is separation. From people, from patterns, from places. You were pulled away suddenly, without warning, without explanation. That wasn't loss. That was positioning. Elevation requires isolation first. What's next demands clarity. The strength you built in the dark. No one clapped during your hardest seasons. No one saw your private prayers, your silent resilience. But heaven saw everything. Every tear counted. Every moment recorded. You built muscles in darkness. Faith muscles, emotional muscles, spiritual muscles. Now you stand unshakable. When peace became your priority, drama no longer entertains you. Chaos no longer excites you. Silence feels like luxury. You choose peace even if it costs you people. Even if it costs familiarity. Even if it costs comfort. That choice changed everything. Because peace is alignment. And alignment attracts miracles. The crown you didn't know you were wearing. You walked through fire without applause. You carried grief with grace. You held faith while bleeding. That endurance crowned you quietly. Not with ego, with authority, with spiritual rank. Heaven recognizes you, even if people don't. And that recognition changes outcomes. Why your silence speaks louder now. You learn that not every truth needs a voice. Not every battle needs engagement. Not every misunderstanding needs correction. Your silence unsettled those who expected reactions. Because peace is unfamiliar to chaos. And restraint is confusing to manipulators. You respond less. Observe more. Move strategically. That's wisdom speaking. The moment you stopped abandoning yourself. You used to stay too long. Explain too much. Forgive too quickly. Now you listen to discomfort. You honor intuition. You leave when alignment leaves. Self-betrayal ended. Self-trust began. And everything shifted. You became safe for yourself. Why your spirit rejects shallow connections. Surface conversations exhaust you. Energy without depth drains you. Noise without truth irritates you. Your soul craves meaning, presence, authenticity. That's not arrogance. That's spiritual maturity. You've tasted depth, and you can't go back. The unseen hand guiding your steps. Some decisions saved you without explanation. Some delays redirected you quietly. Some closed doors protected you invisibly. You thought it was intuition. It was guidance, divine navigation. Even your mistakes were rerouted. Even your wrong turns were used. Nothing was wasted. You were always being led. When fear lost its voice, fear used to run your thoughts, control your choices, silence your truth. Now fear whispers, and faith answers louder. You move despite uncertainty. Courage replaced comfort. Trust replaced tension. Purpose replaced panic. Fear didn't disappear. It lost authority. The fire that no longer consumes you. What once overwhelmed you now sharpens you. What once drained you now fuels you. Fire no longer destroys. It refines. It clarifies. You don't escape pressure. You withstand it. And that changes everything. The shift from surviving to leading. There was a time you just tried to make it through. One day at a time. One breath at a time. Now something changed. You're not just surviving. You're stabilizing. You're leading by example. Your healing made you a lighthouse. Others do know why they trust you. They just feel safe. Why your path never looked normal. Your journey confused people. Late beginnings. Sudden endings. Unexplainable pauses. But chosen paths are never linear. They're intentional. Designed to build discernment. You weren't behind. You were being calibrated. For a precise moment. And that moment is approaching. The responsibility of a healed soul. Healing gave you awareness. Awareness gave you responsibility. You see patterns others ignore. You can't unsee truth. You can't return to ignorance. Your conscience evolved. That's why you walk away sooner. That's why you speak less. That's why you choose carefully. Healing comes with stewardship. When God trusts you with more. More peace. More influence. More clarity. But also more weight. More discernment. More responsibility. God increases capacity before blessing. Strength before overflow. Depth before expansion. You're being trusted. That's why it feels intense. The power of moving without announcement. You stopped posting every move. Stopped explaining every decision. Stopped seeking applause. Quiet moves created loud results. Private preparation birthed public favor. Silence protected momentum. Not everyone needs access to your process. Some only deserve the outcome. That's wisdom. When you realized you don't need permission. You waited for approval once. A sign. A green light. Now you move with conviction. Because alignment became your permission. Peace became your confirmation. You don't ask anymore. You listen. And then you move. That's authority. The inner stillness that changed everything. Your mind slowed down. Your heart stabilized. Your reactions softened. Stillness became your power source. Clarity emerged from quiet. Direction followed peace. You learned this truth. Noise delays purpose. Stillness reveals it. The way your presence disrupts rooms. You don't have to speak to shift energy. You don't have to announce yourself to be felt. Your frequency enters before your words do. Some people feel exposed around you. Some feel calm. Some feel uncomfortable without knowing why. That's not coincidence. That's resonance. Truth recognizes truth. You were never meant to blend in. Why you were forced to grow up fast. Childhood ended early for you. Responsibility came before readiness. Awareness came before safety. That early wait matured your soul. You learned survival before softness. Strength before ease. It wasn't fair, but it was formative. It built depth quickly. Now your inner child is healing. The balance between softness and strength. You learned when to open, and when to guard, when to feel, and when to stand firm. You are no longer extreme. You are integrated, gentle but unbreakable. Softness didn't leave you. It matured. Strength didn't harden you. It stabilized you. When you stopped explaining your growth. Not everyone deserves context. Not everyone understands evolution. Some only know the old version. You release the need to clarify, to convince, to correct perceptions. Let them remember who you were. You're busy becoming who you are. Growth doesn't need witnesses. The way God uses your sensitivity. Your sensitivity isn't weakness. It's perception. You feel shifts before they happen. You sense danger early. Dishonesty instantly. Energy changes subtly. That awareness saved you repeatedly. Guided you silently. Protected you invisibly. Your nervous system became an instrument. Why you can't go back even if you try. You crossed a threshold. Awareness has no reverse. Truth has no rewind. Old environments feel suffocating. Old habits feel empty. Old conversations feel exhausting. It's not arrogance. It's alignment. You outgrew the old reality. The grace that met you at your lowest. At your weakest moment. When faith flickered. When hope thinned. Grace intervened. Not with answers, but with endurance. You didn't quit, even when you wanted to. That was divine support. The way your faith grew in silence. You prayed when no one was listening. You cried when no one could comfort you. You hoped when nothing indicated hope existed. That quiet faith became unshakable. Invisible to the world. Visible only to the divine. The world didn't notice your persistence. But heaven recorded every moment. Every whispered plea. Faith matured when it had no audience. When your losses became lessons. Every loss was a teacher. Every heartbreak, a lesson in resilience. Every betrayal, a lesson in discernment. You stopped asking, why me? And started asking, what now? Pain became the roadmap, not the prison. The broken pieces didn't disappear. They became the foundation. You are stronger because you remember. The power of reclaiming your time. You stopped wasting energy on approval. You stopped entertaining drama. You stopped giving attention to distractions. Time became sacred. Your focus sharpened. Your priorities clarified. Every moment reclaimed became leverage. Every boundary enforced became freedom. Every no spoken became power. Why you now recognize energy immediately. You feel intentions before they are spoken. You sense loyalty before it's proven. You detect deception before it surfaces. This skill isn't learned. It's refined through trials, through heartbreak, through isolation. Energy recognition keeps you aligned and protects your restoration. When patience turned into prosperity, waiting wasn't wasted. Waiting was preparation. Waiting became discipline. Your patience attracted alignment. Your restraint attracted opportunity. Your quiet endurance attracted blessings. Now abundance arrives effortlessly. Because timing favors the prepared. The shift from hurt to healer. What once wounded you now guides you. Your scars became tools. Your pain became insight. You speak softly but with authority. Because you've been through the fire. And your experience carries medicine. Healing isn't just personal anymore. It's communal. Your story lights the path for others. Why the darkness made you unmistakable. You endured seasons no one understood. You faced battles unseen. You survived storms hidden. That darkness sculpted your essence. It made you rare. It made you noticeable. It made you indispensable. The world doesn't create icons. It can only recognize them. You were forged in obscurity to shine publicly. The silence that heard God clearly. You stopped seeking validation in voices outside. You stopped asking for reassurance from unaligned sources. You turned inward. In that stillness, clarity spoke. Directions became undeniable. Warnings unmistakable. You learned that divine whispers are louder than human noise. You learned to trust the invisible guidance. And that trust rewired your destiny. When you stopped chasing and started attracting. Effort without alignment used to drain you. You ran after outcomes that weren't yours. You gave energy to doors that weren't meant to open. Now you move with presence, not push. You attract what matches your frequency. Your life responds to alignment, not desperation. This is restoration in motion. Divine favor seeks you now. Because you are no longer seeking it blindly. The moment you realized you deserved more. You used to settle quietly. Tolerate disrespect softly. Forgive too quickly. Now you recognize your value. You honor it. You protect it. Nothing less than what aligns touches your life. Your soul understands worth intuitively. And God mirrors that understanding with restoration. How divine favor manifests in your life. Opportunities appear unexpectedly. People show up when needed. Doors open without struggle. This is not coincidence. This is alignment in action. Your restored soul attracts its perfect reflection in life. Favor now moves in your direction. Not because you forced it, but because you prepared yourself for it. When your vision starts to materialize, what once existed only in dreams now gains form. What you whispered to God late at night now speaks in reality. What seemed impossible becomes inevitable. The universe bends to the clarity of your restored soul. Your alignment accelerates manifestation. Your path clears as your vision solidifies. The power of embracing your awakening. You no longer hide your gifts. You no longer minimize your influence. You step fully into your calling. Awakening is responsibility. Awakening is sovereignty. Awakening is now your lifestyle. And every move you make echoes the restoration within. Why you are unstoppable now. The pain that once slowed you now fuels you. The heartbreak that once shattered you now sharpens you. The solitude that once isolated you now centers you. You are rebuilt. You are refined. You are awakened. Nothing can stop what God has restored in you. Chosen one, stop scrolling. You felt the breaking, the waiting, the transformation. Now it's time to claim what God is restoring for you. Comment below and declare, what broke me, God is restoring stronger and greater. Hit that like button to seal your alignment. Subscribe to Chosen Wave and step fully into the life you were divinely prepared for. Remember, your awakening is your power. Are you ready to embrace it?